Hi, welcome. Hope Zvara here, and I'm going to be taking you through a great core starter practice. When we think about working the core, we have to start letting go of our old train of thought. And what I mean by that is hitting the gym and doing those horrible abdominal crunching machines, or even thinking about things like pressing your back into the floor and things like navel to spine. We want our core to work as organically as possible, and that means that really we're starting to work that deep muscle called the transverse abdominal and all of those external muscles from that one point in a very natural way. So we're not thinking about sucking the belly in, but really just kind of stiffening, or what I like to call co-contracting the core. So when we do that, really, ideally, we're contracting the core as is. And so when we work with something like the mini ball, really allows us an opportunity to co-contract all of those muscles universally for the best possible outcome. Because when you think about it, out there in our everyday life, which is the whole reason why we should be doing the exercises that we are, we're trying to help mimic or emulate that which we're trying to do more successfully, more pain-free out there. So in the hopes of having no back pain, having a stronger middle, having less shoulder pain, less hip pain, we have to start looking at how we're doing our exercises. Because are they really making us healthier? Or are they in fact hurting us? Let's begin. So for today's practice, you'll need a mini ball, and as always, let a little bit of the air out so your body does more of the work and your ball does less of it. What you may also need is either a 4-inch foam yoga block, a rolled up bundled towel, or an additional mini ball. So that way you have something for a leg prop as needed. All right, let's begin. I'll turn sideways, and we're gonna take that ball and just set it off to the side for the time being, and we're gonna start with a little bit of some warm up. Hands under the knees, feet placed about sit bones distance apart, and make sure the pelvis is untucked so you feel like you're on your sit bones with a nice long spine. Rather than projecting forward, we're just trying to start to feel that natural neutral. Rib cage is soft, sit bones are even on the floor. Now on the inhale, really feeling the entire spine as part of the movement. Inhaling, let the legs open slightly, lift the heart. Exhale now, pelvic floor contracts. I'm feeling my tailbone curl up, my lower back round out, my shoulders round out, my chin to the chest. Notice what doesn't move and focus there. Inhale, dive your head forward through a narrow hole and draw into that extension. Exhale, pass back through the narrow hole and rock back. Inhaling and exhaling. Notice how I'm utilizing my entire spine versus maybe what you're used to of just moving forward to back, most likely moving your body in chunks. I want you to really individualize the vertebrae, which in essence we're also using those deep core muscles called the multifidi. Inhaling and exhaling. Inhaling and exhaling. 2 more. Last one. And coming back to center. Nice, bottoms of the feet together, just a nice easy bound angle. Rocking side to side, release the sit bones. The goal is not to bring the heels tight towards the pubis bone. The goal is to feel space through the hips. And then exhaling, hinging from the hip. Stop at the point that your body starts to collapse. Most likely the rib cage literally folding over the abdomen. I want you to think about keeping length and not really going as far down, but getting a much deeper stretch where you actually need the stretch. Great, and now slowly rising back up, draw the knees together comfortably, and now set your green ball or your mini ball behind the sacrum snugly, and set that green ball behind or in between the inner thighs. Aligning the feet, give the ball a nice squeeze. This is also a great reminder that you stay hugging the midline, which in essence, the inner thigh really feeds right into that pelvic floor and then into the transversus. So you're gonna have a much higher likelihood of success in your core. Sitting tall again on the sit bones, relax your shoulders. Keep everything stacked and nice aligned. Stacked doesn't mean that we're straight, but rather honoring the curves of our spine. Now exhale, just a very slight pelvic tilt, contracting the pelvic floor to initiate that, rather than tilting and not contracting. It may take some work for you to really practice that if need be. So keeping that contraction, hug against your green ball between the knees. Keep the length in front of the body. Now imagine buttoning a sweater. I'm not sucking in, but here's that co-contracting again. I'm feeling very stiff and very strong in my middle or in my center. Arms come up in front, plug your shoulders back. Now imagine opening a great big cookbook on your chest. Inhale, opening, and now exhale, pelvic floor engages, obliques come to the midline. Exhale, soft shoulders. I'm only going to open my arms and angle my arms to a height that I can keep from collapsing. So inhaling, and then exhaling. Think about those internal muscles. Inhale, and exhale, chin stays down and relaxed. Inhale, and exhale. I'm really focusing on my pelvic floor. Part of any good body work, core work in particular, is that we think about what we're trying to do. Mindless movement will not get you a healthy, mobile body. Inhaling and exhaling. Let's try 5 more. Soft jaw. 2 more. Last one. Inhale, lift through your core and draw your body upright. Nice job. Remove the ball, remove the green ball from behind you. 3 rounds of that totally encompassing spinal cat-cow. Inhaling and exhaling. Inhaling and exhaling. Last one, inhaling. And exhale back to center. Great job. This time, bottoms of the feet together in what I like to call a shooting star. The heels are further out from your pubic bone and actually much closer to a straight leg. Inhale, sitting tall, no dumping the pelvis. Exhale, keep a lot of length in the lower back as you fold forward. So possibly a shift in sensation now, more to the outer sides of the legs, IT band, outer glute. And so just honor your body as you come down slowly. Increase the back length and reach your arms forward rather than keeping your arms all hunched up. Inhale, spread your back. Exhale, gently with gravity, fold forward. Using your hands, gently roll yourself up and draw the knees together. So you'll notice kind of a theme today. I'll be encompassing some gentle hip openers with core work, as for many of us, our psoas in particular are so bound down, pulling us into flexion, that then we're doing core work in a constantly flexed position. We're actually bringing ourselves further from balance and further into pain. And so I really want to encourage you to keep this balance of openness and strength. That again, asking you that same question I asked in the beginning, are you really fit? Are you really healthy? Are the exercises you're engaging in helping you move better? All right, green ball again. So green ball goes behind the sacrum, opposite ball or your other prop goes between the knees. Give it a nice hug. Sitting nice and tall, we haven't leaned back yet. Hands under the knees, you can always be here as a nice variation. Pelvic floor contracts as I give a gentle tilt. No super glute squeezing. Try to keep those guys relaxed enough that they can contract on their own free will. Engaging on the green ball, let's ride it back, 45 degrees. Just as a reminder, this is me laying on the ball. This is me trying to be contracted in front of it. I want you to imagine kissing the ball rather than smacking the ball. All right, shoulders drop down. Arms in front, we're gonna work with alternating. Inhale, left arm comes up, look over your right shoulder. Exhale, drop it down, core contracts. Inhale, breathe into your rib cage, and exhale. Every time you exhale, just as a nice reminder, think about hugging on the ball and engaging the pelvic floor. I've lost my core if I'm rounding and sagging. Soft jaw. Challenge your neck into a full rotation. And challenge your eyes as well. Look as far back as you can. We typically do not challenge our eyes enough. Too much screen time. Keep breathing. At any moment, I want you to cut out the reps. If you start to feel like you're losing alignment, you're starting to have pain, discomfort's okay. I want you to stop and come out. No pain, no gain is not a philosophy that I follow. One more each way. Last one. Inhale, lift through here. Exhale, bring it up. Nice job. Removing your ball. Now scooch just a little forward so the green ball behind you now is at your lumbar curve. Really honoring that lumbar curve. Relax your hips completely, relax your legs. Really focus on breathing into your inner hip and thigh as you really honor now that natural curve in the spine. Arms come overhead. Now if you're someone that has more of a flat back or you've lost the curve in your spine, a lot of us sit way too much, this may be a very challenging position to be in and you may have to work your way up to it. So I want to encourage you, it's not an all or nothing. Grab out a hand towel and roll that up and slowly graduate yourself, increasing subtly into that natural curve in the spine. Full breath, feel your lungs open. And then draw the legs back, plant them to the floor, draw your arms in, roll yourself to one side, use your hand for help, and press yourself to seated. Nice job. All right, we're going to take that green ball again, one more time in this kind of 45-degree angle position. And I'm going to bring the green ball now between my hands and draw nice and tall. If you need a second ball or a second block, feel free to grab that for yourself. Pelvic floor initiates. Exhale. And then slowly again, keeping that long spine, 45 degrees. Arms come up in front, elbows are going to bend. Imagine squeezing an orange. Exhaling, inhaling. Notice how my elbows aren't flaring. Exhaling and inhaling. Kind of a nice twist on flexion, but we're really trying to keep the spine totally long here. Exhale, contract, lift up to the pelvic floor. Inhale, release a little bit if you need to. Exhale, contract. Inhale. Exhale. Shoulders are soft. Keep breathing. I'm breathing wide into my lungs and keeping that pelvic floor strong. 4 more. Inhale, exhale, lift through your middle, lower it down slow. Nice job. Remove your green ball. Let's lay all the way onto our back. Knees into your chest. Just give yourself a nice hug. Really soften and relax the hip flexors. Notice how much tension is actually there. Nice. And then feet to the floor. Bend and extend your arms. Let's really honor and exaggerate the lordotic curve so your shoulders bury into the floor. Now latch your thumbs that your hands look like a butterfly if you were doing a nice little shadow puppet show. And now pull your thumbs wide like you're trying to break them apart as you feel your upper back spread. So inhaling through the nose and exhaling through the nose, really trying to pull apart that deep lumbar fascia and all of that tight lower back area, and then slowly sink it down. Nice. All right, grabbing your green ball again. Place that guy underneath the hips, so sacral area, pants area. Nice neutral pelvis, broaden out the upper back, relax the rib cage. So again, I'm feeling that contraction. We're getting 360 degrees core versus pressing into the floor. Choosing your arm variation, palms face in, elbows bent, arms to the sky. I want to choose a place where I'm the most successful, not the most wobbly. Here we go. Pelvic floor contracts, lift one leg at a time. I'm really stable, no shoulder hunching. Flex the feet, stay strong with the core. Now deep breath in, and exhale, contract. Inhale, keeping the knee at 90. Lower the heel towards the floor. Exhale, contract. There's that fishing reel in the core. Inhale, this is one of my favorite moves. Exhale. I can challenge myself by changing my arm position. It's too much of a change if now I'm shimmying and shaking all over the place. Inhaling, soft shoulders. Exhaling. Really focusing on that deep core contraction so the psoas doesn't take over. If you're noticing a lot of hip flexor pain, 1, this movement probably isn't ready for you yet. 2, try a slight internal rotation on the femur head. Or 3, lessen the movement. Good. Inhale, soft shoulders. I really have to tell myself that. Keep breathing. It's easy to start to forget where we're starting from, that internal core, and we just start to use muscles like our quads. So if your quads are hurting, you're not where you should be. We start to feel our hip flexors, our groin. And so really pay attention where you're working from. One more set. Soft neck and jaw. Nice job. Inhale, breathe in. Exhale, feet down slow. Extend your legs out. Extend your arms. Now let your hips sway side to side. Again, a nice little hip flexor stretch. Almost like you're going to fall off the ball, but not quite. And then back to center. Nice job. Release your arms. Awesome. All right, so you're going to take your second block. If you're using a foam block, I would suggest maybe a rolled towel. Otherwise, that second ball is going to work just great. I'm going to place the ball between my feet. Kind of lower ankle, arch of the foot, and then just toe touch down so I can make sure I'm securely in neutral. Relax the spine and rib cage, pelvic floor contracts, lifting the legs. Nice. Now with a flexed foot, we're not tense, but we're flexed. Inhale, opening the knees, and then exhale, pressing on the ball. I'm going to 45 degrees or I'm going to 90 degrees. The goal is not a straight leg. The goal is to create stability first and foremost. So inhale, exhale with parallel legs. Inhale, open as you pull it in. Exhale, contract as you really work to keep parallel. Inhale, exhale. Make the movement smaller if you're noticing a lot of clicking or popping, but also possibly a sign that you have some either misalignment in the pelvis or some uneven length going on in some of the muscles in your pelvis. Exhale, again, keeping the ribcage relaxed. I'm keeping a strong core. When I press on that green ball, I'm really making sure my legs are parallel. 2 more. Pelvic floor. I'm feeling stable in my trunk. I'm going to take my arms off, a little bit more challenging. Whoa. And then back to center. Getting rid of the ball. Lowering the feet down slow. Let's just do a few rounds of a more localized pelvic tilt. Notice how my rib cage though is getting involved. And then hips lift up, remove that ball, knees into the chest, pull the knees really wide this time, grab hold of the bottoms of the feet, and let's move into a nice little happy baby. Work your sacrum to the floor before you work your thighs to the floor. Breathe. And then lower the feet down, draw the knees together, roll off to one side. And when you're ready, we're going to line up for some nice sideline work. We can always use some oblique work. Take your mini ball, place it between the rib and the hip, and line yourself up with the back edge of the mat because the mat never lies. And if you need to create a little bit of a more stable variation and the top foot comes forward, the back leg has to come back. So we have that top hip lining up with equal distance from the heel to the toes. If we only take the top leg forward, we're going to fall forward. When we fall forward, we use too much medius and minimus. When we fall back, we use too much psoas and hip flexor. We want to be stacked. If this is uncomfortable for your hip, pad the hip. Simple solution. All right, so we're going to come down, and I'm going to come onto my forearm for this variation today. Top hand is going to bend, palm face the floor to honor the rotator. Now imagine as though you're pulling a resistance band, but that resistance band is actually attached to the oblique. Stay lifted through your bottom oblique so that you're working again 360-degree core. Inhale, sink into your shoulder, and then exhaling, coming up, make a fist, pull that elbow to the hip. Inhale, release it. And exhale, contract. I feel this scoop of energy through my core. Inhale and exhale. Inhale and exhale. Nice little work for the shoulder as well. When I look at the body, I'm looking at working the entire body as a unit. 4 more. Keep breathing. 1 more. All right, now we're going to add the leg. So inhaling and exhaling. I'm keeping my foot flexed and parallel with the floor. So again, no hip flexor. 5 more. Keeping the leg directly below me, I'm pressing out of my bottom shoulder. 3 more. We might have thrown an extra one in there. Nice job. All right, lower the top arm down, stretch it out, press through your top foot, grab your top wrist with your bottom hand, and give yourself some length here. Really try to focus on what that length feels like and breathe. Great job. Release the top arm, roll onto your belly, and moving your ball off to the side momentarily. Ground through the tops of the feet. Really make sure your legs feel parallel. As you press the tops of the feet into the floor, the kneecaps are going to lift a little bit. Root your pubis bone into the floor. If you're struggling with rooting the pubis bone, fold up a hand towel and place that underneath your ASIS on each side, which would be the front of your pelvis. Hand over hand, forehead rests on the hands. The hands are going to lift with the forehead. Imagine hanging from your elbows. So staying rooted in the pelvis so we're not feeling almost an anterior tilt when we lift. We want to feel a lot of length and good core work. Inhale here, shoulders down. Exhale, lift. Inhaling and exhaling. Be sure that you're not pushing your abdomen into the floor. Exhale when you lift, inhale when you lower. Watch that you're not rotating the legs. Last one. And down slow. Hands under the shoulders. Pick up strong through your middle. And then really stretch it back. Try not to tilt the pelvis. Stay neutral. Exhale, come up with a rounded spine. Roll the toes under. Let's just get a little footwork in. Sit back on those rounded or rolled toes just for a nice foot stretch. You're in shoes all day, so just try to open up through the feet. If this is really challenging for you, 1, I want you to work on this a little bit every day, but 2, feel free to lean forward and just curl the toes and work your way into this stretch. No more foot cramping, right? All right, so turn yourself over. I'm just going to stay facing you. And line yourself up with the back edge of the mat. Again, elbow sits under shoulder, really important. Make a fist, palm down, palm up. Just try not to grip. And then when you're ready, I feel stacked. Make sure that you're not rocking. So check yourself halfway through. We tend to default towards those stronger muscles otherwise when we're not paying attention. All right, top palm faces the floor to honor the shoulder. Arm extends and bends. Imagine again, it's the oblique that's bringing you contracted, not necessarily the arm. The arm is an extension of our core. So inhale, sink a little bit, and exhale. Legs are strong, pelvic floor is engaging. Inhaling and exhaling. I am using a little bit of that lower shoulder to create some stability and some pop. Five more. One more. We're going to add the leg. Take a break if you need to. Feel free to cut down the reps if you need to. Notice how my leg is not going very high. Height is not the goal. 6 more. Nice job. Roll it to the belly again. As you rest onto the abdomen, take your green ball and set it between the ankles. So you want it more on the lower portion of the ankle, kind of towards the foot rather than towards the leg. And then once you come down, you'll probably notice that you're not able to rest on the floor. The ball is, so you're going to have to hover. Hand over hand, draw your shoulders down. Pubis bone roots again. I'm trying to keep my lower pelvis very much rooted in that pubic bone area, thighs parallel. So the ball helps you not to cheat and keep your legs even so that one hamstring that's probably long or stronger isn't going to dominate. Height is not the goal. Try to keep the ball as minimal rolling as possible between your ankles for some really good stability. All right, inner thighs engaged, feet right into the pelvic floor. A deep breath in. And then exhale, lifting up. I'm going to keep my head slowly hovering so you can hear me. And so when you lift, notice the desire to rotate your thigh bones to try to lift higher. We're trying to recruit more gluteus maximus, which is a really important hip stabilizing muscle, and also it's a good recruitment for balance, and trying to stay out of just the outer hip and thigh, which for many people we default towards. If you're a dancer, be a great example of someone that wants to externally rotate so badly. Notice when you lift your legs, if you can keep your shoulders and neck as relaxed as possible. You are going to feel some back work, but you should not be feeling back pain. You should also not be feeling your hip bones grinding into the floor. We're going to try for 4 more here. Hands under the shoulders, lift with your core, and draw back again. I'm trying to create some space through my back body. Roll yourself up slow, back into that footwork. Roll the toes under. This time we're going to work with a low heel squat. Sitting back into the heels, this all plays into our hip opening. When our lower legs are super tight, you're going to probably expect your hips to be tight. Imagine a little kid, you're walking around with them wrapped around your leg all day. Your hip is going to strain after a while. It's kind of like our lower leg muscles. So wiggle your sit bones free and let your heels sink back, but keep your body weight reaching forward. Imagine as though you're trying to untuck your shirt by stretching out your back and hips. And then coming back to the knees. All right, we're going to do 2-to-1 ratio. So picking which side maybe was a little bit more challenging, and we're going to go to that side. If you felt like they were pretty even and accurate, imagine which side you tend to carry most of your things on. Typically that opposite oblique is going to be loaded. So if you do a lot of carrying with your right arm, your left oblique is probably a little stronger. Same thing with your purse. If you're always wearing your purse on one side, the other side has to work twice as hard to keep up that load. So just some food for thought for you. So I'm going to be working with my right oblique. Believe it or not, I'm probably opposite of what most people would think. Even though I'm right-handed, I kind of overused my opposite side when I was pregnant with my daughter, and now I'm still working on that. All right, so hand to the head, front hand in front, just kind of align yourself, stack, stagger. When you're ready, take your forearm to the floor. I'm going to sink a little bit. My elbow is under my shoulder, not forward, or you're going to really create some discomfort in that shoulder socket. Palm faces the head, slide the arm out. This is your inhale. Keep it stacked. Exhale. We're going to go 10-to-1. It's easy not to turn on the pelvic floor in this one, so keep it turned on, at least mentally. If we can be there mentally, we'll eventually be there physically. 3 more. Let's go with the leg. Five more. Try to keep the leg directly below you. Foot is flexed parallel with the floor. 3 more. Nice job. Swing the arm around, lay it to the floor, hands under the shoulders, elbows stay tucked in, press it back. Roll yourself up slowly, and let's come into just a really gentle, deep lunge. Some people call this low lunge. I'll step forward with what will be your left foot. I'm going to first and foremost start out by leveling out my hips. So rolling the hip of the front thigh down. You might need a chair or blocks for help here. And I'm going to try to level out my pelvis as much as I can and keep a neutral pelvis. So pubis bone, hip bones parallel at the front wall. I'm only going to go as far as I can keep this neutral. We tend to sink way too deep. We see those amazing yoga DVD covers and it's like, wow, that deep lunge is so amazing. But they've totally lost neutral and most likely are just sagging into their overstretched muscles, which is why they can get so far. So I'm going to keep a little bit of transversus and pelvic floor work, and I actually have my hand right in my hip fold to keep my hips level, and I'm really feeling more of a true stretch. Back leg is straight behind the knee, inhaling. We're just working in a neutral frame right now. Press into the front leg, turning on the hamstring a little bit and glute. Again, I'm keeping upright spine. I'm not sagging into it where I sit in my lower back. This is where yoga no longer becomes effective. And then slowly pressing out, and let's just switch. If you do a lot of sitting, really pay attention to that neutrality. All right, so I'm going to level it out. My right hip is tighter, so this one's going to be challenging, so bear with me. All right, neutral pelvis, core is strong. I'm going to slowly come forward, only going as far as I can keep my hips level. The tighter the hip flexor, the more you're going to be yanked to kind of an angle. Stay tall. Breathing. And now imagine that the outside of that back leg's hip is kind of shooting forward. Deep breath in. No more back pinching. Wouldn't that be nice? Pressing the top of the back foot into the floor. You should feel your front foot totally solid on the mat. So press into the mat. And then slowly coming out. If this is your tighter side, stay here with me. If not, switch. Level it out. And here we go again. Deep breath in. I'm working to keep neutral, working to stay level. Deep breath out. Soft jaw, soft shoulders. We're trying not to cultivate tension, but release it. And then slowly coming out. Hands to the floor, swing the leg around, back into that heel squat. Sitting back, wiggle your sit bones free. Take a close look at your ankles since you are that close, your arches. Notice if you're collapsing or shifting. See if you can bring the feet more neutral and notice if that changes the stretch for you. Now slowly come into a forward fold, only lengthening your legs to the point where you can keep like this ultimate length in the back body. Lean slightly forward and really check the alignment of your feet. Slowly come down to the knees and come back to a seated position. Or if you prefer standing, that'll work too. Great job today. And so you'll notice that a little goes a long way. I really want you to pay attention to what you're doing while you're doing it. So that then, when you go out into your everyday life, you're noticing that what you're doing is, one, more mindful, but two, a lot less injury prone. So thinking about the core and how that really affects our normal everyday posture and movements, it's not about sucking it in, it's not about trying to force it, it's not about no pain, no gain. It's about trying to teach our body how to use this muscular structure, these tissues, in a way that's most natural and most effective. So I can't wait to work with you again. For more information, visit my website at hopecorefitness.com. I have a great online training and more to come. And check out my other YouTube videos as well if you haven't subscribed yet, and share them with your friends. Thank you so much. From my heart to yours, from my soul to yours. Namaste.